From one of the longest tracks on the circuit to the short track, we go short track racing in Richmond, Virginia for the Toyota Owners 400. We've got all the coverage, DFS, betting, all the angles you ever could want on the back road. Stick around and we'll be right back with it.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checkered flag. That's all this race is.
Happy Thursday evening, everyone. We are back with another edition of the Back Road heading to Richmond Raceway. Elliot Hicks back with you. We got our my normal partner in crime here, Seth Woolcock, with us as always. How's it going tonight, Seth?
Oh, we are reeling still off a great weekend of racing. Richmond isn't the sexiest track, but, you know, you can take a little juice, have a little fun with it. So vibes are high over here. Rod, you had a stellar weekend over there, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast as well. How are you doing tonight, our friend?
I'm good. I am just so tepid about going back into the water because, you know, you hit a big week like that. The only thing you can do is come back down. So hoping to keep this heater rolling into the Richmond Raceway weekend.
No doubt. And yeah, great to have our every other week partner, Rod Villagomez, here with us. Going to be a fun one tonight. But first, we got to take a look back in the rear view at a fun week at COTA. Seth, I tell you what, we picked up the spirit of baseball opening day a little early with some home run bets last week at COTA, including Reddick as the outright winner.
Man, it was a mix of emotions, full of a weekend. I mean, we were on the qualifying bet of Reddick and Cindric. Those both missed by this much. William Byron comes back to bite us in the ass once again there. And then we're just hanging on for dear life at the very end. How many green-white checkers did we see? And it was just insane. NASCAR overtime on these road courses doing its thing once again. But yeah, we came out with the Reddick 10-1. We got on him early in the week. I was super juiced up about that. Rod, I know you were on Reddick as well and some of the other winners last weekend.
I tell you what, you guys were on pins and needles those last 3 or 4 restarts. I was about to hit the trifecta and outrights on the weekend, and it just kept going and going and going. And I thought, can we just throw the white flag already? I mean, how many times does Reddick have to win this race? The answer to that, 3. So he definitely got it for us. And yeah, I mean, I was stoked. I mean, like you, I was on him early in the week at 10-1. And I was pretty excited about that. Watching him fall to like 325 by the time it was all said and done. I was like, yeah, we definitely got in good on this one.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it was just such a fun race. I love road courses. I love COTA. Elliot, we've kind of talked about it a little bit. It's slowly becoming one of our favorite tracks to watch and gamble on.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I don't know if NASCAR is going to scale back some of this road course stuff, but you have to keep going to Circuit of the Americas. I mean, I'm not sure how long their deal is for, but this definitely has to be a permanent fixture on the Cup schedule.
Yeah, 100%. Other than that, I will say it was kind of a mixed card. Ryan Blaney, I was hot on Ryan Blaney last week. I picked him up in DFS with that low or just terrible starting position, and he never, I don't think, made it above 20th. It was a terrible day for Blaney, but we hit the Byron top 5, we hit the Cindric top 10, hit the Cindric top 4 as well, plus 450 to go along with that nice payday from Reddick. Rod, anything else that you were on last week other than the 3 outrights that came to fruition?
So I had Buescher as a top 10 car early. I know a lot of people actually, and again, we talked about this just before the show started. None of us really consume each other's content until after we've already put out our own, because we definitely don't want to get tainted. But it was nice to hear that there was other folks on Buescher as a top 10 car. Glad that he was able to squeak it through. It didn't look good for most of the race, but he managed to get there on one of those green-white checkers and keep it. So I was pretty happy about that one. And I'm sad Allmendinger had a rough go of it after that pit stop. But yeah, that was rough. I had him as a pretty good finisher, and that didn't happen. So
if we went wrong anywhere, Elliot, I think it was our love for the road course winners or ringers. We were very high on Allmendinger. The top 10 didn't come through. We also had Dinger over Byron before we knew Byron was just going to be on a rocket all weekend. And then Jordan Taylor as well. I took the candy. I took the bait. It was Sunday morning, plus 230. I said, man, he's starting top 10. I got to get a little piece of that. That came back to bite me as well, Elliot.
Well, the tough thing is Taylor was running top 10 or close to it, and then it's just those late restarts shuffled so much. Buescher getting into the top 10. I saw somebody on Twitter was like reviewing film from the race. They found a restart where everyone's, going to the inside. Michael McDowell goes to the outside. If you watch the clip, he gained about 15 spots in that one corner, just taking it slower on the outside. So that really messed with top 10s for sure. But so Reddick gets the win. We all had a good time with that. Now it's time to look ahead to Richmond Raceway.
Hey, Michael, it was only 20% chance of rain. I think we got all 20.
So from the long road course to the short track, like Rod said, 0.75 mile asphalt short track. The racing there, not quite what it used to be. The next gen has really helped, though. I tell you what, I was at that fall 2021 snooze fest. So in 2022, having some decent races there was nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, man, Richmond is a little bit of a snoozer. That's a second stage slapper, that you just lay down, kick the feet up. Hey, I might wake back up by the end of the stage. I might not. And I think the books know this as well, Rod. I felt like overall it wasn't super favorable coming into the week, but we know what to expect coming to Richmond out of all the tracks on the circuit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was very disappointed at the initial odds, and I was like, man, this is kind of gross. Like, I almost don't feel like betting it outright this time. I want to find some good matchups, some good top 10 value in there, because the outright market is not necessarily what I hoped it would be. But then again, think of it this way. We got spoiled with the super speedway pricing. We got spoiled with super speedway pricing in Atlanta, right? And then road course pricing. Like, we've been spoiled for this season.
Yes.
Now it's back to normal, where the bookmakers are like, yeah, we're not going to really do this to break our banks, because these guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the considerations I think we need to factor in to this week is the high tire wear. And again, it's going to be a boring yet predictable race, but this is one where strategy could come into play here. So you kind of will be betting on some of these guys, in my opinion, who are going to have a little bit more strategy come on Sunday. And Elliot, it seems like Toyota, they are the favorite coming into this one once again.
Yeah, last week I was very worried about the Toyotas. Toyota ends up winning the race. They have some good speed. This week I'm pretty high on the Toyotas, to be honest with you. What was the stat you had, Seth? 9 of the last 16 races or something?
9 of the last 14, yeah.
14,
and Chevy just 1 out of the last 9. However, like, this is something to consider, but I'm not going to go like with the whole Chevy fade and Yoder.
Keep in mind, though, that one, I just realized this, the one Chevy win should not have been a Chevy win, arguably. Hamlin had dominated that race. Bowman, they pump up the tires with a late restart and win. So arguably Chevy should be 0 for 9 or 0 for even further back than that. So
yeah, good point. Good point. For the data this week, guys, we're going to be looking at 2022 shorter flat track total speed rankings. That's looking at Phoenix data, Richmond, Gateway, and New Hampshire. We're also going to be considering Richmond 1 and 2 placements from last season, driver history, recent performance. I think also really matters coming into this week, man. I mean, there's some guys on a heater that I think we need to continue to ride. And then I'm also going to be weighing heavily Phoenix finishes and speed rankings. It's the closest data we have here in 2023, Rod.
Yeah, and really, to me, this is kind of just a comparable. I'm just going to take Richmond into account. I mean, I know this season alone, I think we've seen that you could take the past data and weigh it a little bit, but we've seen some very interesting outcomes this season so far, and kind of some that have bucked the trends and have taken our research and basically kind of crumpled it up and threw it away. So I'm going to kind of be looking a lot at what they've done lately, because it seems like the folks that are on a tear, a la William Byron, a la Tyler Reddick, they can continue to be on a tear. And I know that I was told to be careful of momentum. What do I mean by momentum? These drivers, like I said last night on the betting preview, they're human beings. And I mean, they could be performing one way and then come out and be completely different, right? And so you never know. The unpredictability factor, we can predict all we want, But what we don't know in the end is that we don't know everything, right?
Yes, 100%. Elliot, are you looking at Hendricks a little more now after the big news? If you want to share that as well, I'm sure you being a number 48 fan are psyched up about that.
Well, it is always nice to see your guy in the points lead. Yeah, but playing off of Rod's point, I was going to mention that those Hendrick guys may have a little more confidence. They still got fined. The crew chiefs are still out another 2 weeks. No points penalties to Hendrick, though. So they may be feeling a little more confident. And I feel more confident at looking at past Richmond stats because the next-gen car ran both races here last year, and neither of those races were playoff races. Sometimes you almost have to put an asterisk next to those because guys run differently. The playoff guys maybe try different setups. The other guys maybe don't worry about it so much. Both of these Richmond races were regular season last year. So I feel like you can kind of factor those in equally. You don't have anything to worry about, whether it be playoffs or like with Phoenix 2, where I kind of threw it out because it's the championship race and everything's a little different. So that certainly will help too. And I don't know, I think we're ready to go to the tire tiers here. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, let's do it. Quick shout out. We got Rod's brother back in the chat tonight. He's saying the ringers haven't been good for 20 years. Rod, right. What is your brother's first name? I always just call him Rod's brother.
It's Nick.
Nick. Okay. All right. Nick, good to see you again tonight, man. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you give us a thumbs up, help other people find us, and subscribe if you want to stick around for a little more goofiness over here in the tire tiers.
Before we get started, I do want to shout out that comment there while Seth takes the tree out of my face on
Sorry.
The layout here makes the tiers a little better. The road course ringers, you know, it's not the days we can have Boris Said or Ron Fellows or Scott Pruitt step in the car and win. You know, these guys are so good at everything. Jensen Button, who was in the 15 last week, said after the race that it's like an entire Formula One season crammed into one race. So very good point that the ringers, you know, Seth, we'll keep that in mind when it comes to Sonoma. If there are any ringers, maybe we'll be just a little lower on them. We weren't pumping them up a lot, but I know I was high on Jimmy, who couldn't even get a full lap finished. Rod, I'm sure that was pretty sad for you also. And, you know, these other road course ringers didn't end up doing that well. But all right, enough about the road course. We're in on Richmond now.
Yes, yeah, let's do it here, guys. We're looking at DraftKings and Fantrax pricing for these tiers. Rod, we want to serve it up to you while you're hot, man. Who's your driver A here? Who's someone you're going to be anchoring your lineups with this week?
So this is probably going to go against the whole let's fade Toyota camp, but I got to throw that 11 car up there. I mean, he is the active leader in laps led on this track altogether. Over 2,000 laps that this guy's led on Richmond alone. Obviously has won this race several times over. I know that the finishes have not been there this season for Denny. I know it's been a little bit disappointing of a year for Denny Hamlin and their camp. And of course, you know, when you're talking about getting called out on your own podcast over things you say, taking out Ross Chastain once and for all, look, it's got to settle down for him at some point. And this is a track that he's had so much success on. Toyota owners, he's a Toyota owner. I mean, I'm just saying, like, Denny Hamlin's going to be a staple in all of my everything this week, because I think this is the week that he puts it back together. You know, again, track familiarity. You put a victory on this track within the last year or so, you know, that's confidence right there. So I think he's got it in spades. I like that 11 car. He's going to be my anchor.
First and fourth here last season for Denny Hamlin. So in the next gen, we have proof that Hamlin can do it. 10,100 is the price tag here. Elliot, where are you going here in driver A's?
I think Hamlin's the consensus top pick here. I'm high on Hamlin. I'm high on Toyota. I'm high on Gibbs, and I'm really high on Christopher Bell. Bell runs really well here. Steep price at 10.3, but I think he'll get you some value here unless he runs into trouble. He's going to run well. He's going to run up front. I still have some PTSD from some of those Xfinity races. He won so many of those, and it's only a matter of time before he gets in victory lane in the Cup Series at Richmond. I'm really liking the 20 car this week as well.
Awesome. Love that, Elliot. And guys, I'm going to go to the highest price on the board, William Byron. And man, this guy has absolutely looked like the best driver this season, in my opinion. This is shout out to Ryan from iFantasy Racing. He put this out earlier today on Twitter. Byron has the highest driver rating minus super speedways so far this season. The guy has been brilliant. I know you're paying up a lot at 1,100, but let's not forget what he did here last season. Led 122 laps, finished third in that first race last season at Richmond, finished 11th, but had top 10 speed in the last fourth in the fall Richmond race as well. And that's really when he was kind of going through that late season slump. So I'm going to talk about William Byron a lot tonight. I'm in on the 24 once again here this week, guys.
Yeah, I can't complain anything about that. The 24 car obviously was the better, I think, of Reddick and the 24. If you really want to twist my arm, obviously Byron was the better car, but Reddick just found a way to keep holding him off after, and, every restart. And, the better driver won, but the better car did not, in my opinion, I think is what ended up happening. So, all right. I will move on to another Hendrick man, and that's Kyle Larson. You ready for a Kyle Larson bounce back week? I'm telling you right now, it's so easy. It's so easy to dump on him right now. It really is. It's so easy to say Kyle Larson doesn't have it anymore. Kyle Larson's having a bad season. That is entirely true, right? Kyle Larson has not had the start to his season, much like Denny Hamlin, that he has before, but it's Kyle Larson. I mean, how much longer is he going to be able to stay down? He had 2 top 10 finishes in his last 3 races here. He did start on the pole twice in the last 3 races as well. Still a fast car. He's still a guy that can get things done. I think now that all of this nastiness is behind them, the Hendricks boys, just like Elliot said, going to come in with a little more confidence this week. We're done with road courses. We're done with super speedways. I know it's a short track, but I think this is where Kyle Larson kind of gets back on track. I'm not saying he's going to win this race. I don't think he's going to win, but I think a nice solid top 5 day for him is in the cards. So I'll take him all day.
Yeah.
See, eventually I'll get to the Chevrolets and Fords here, but I'm still liking the Toyotas right now, and I'm going to put Tyler Reddick on the board. He's at $9,000. That's a fairly good price. I don't have the speed rankings in front of me, so I'm not sure exactly where he ranks in the stats I normally look at for the short tracks, but Toyotas are good here. Recent momentum, obviously, he's the last race winner. And, Tyler Reddick seems like one of those confidence drivers. He does well in one race. It's going to keep on rolling. So the 45 having a good week would not surprise me whatsoever.
Back on it, baby. Love it, Elliot. Keep riding that hot hand, man. I'm going to go with a guy I think it's a little bit underpriced here. $9,700 for Kyle Busch, guys, on DraftKings. And I don't think Kyle Busch has quite the speed, or I don't think he's going to unload quite the fastest that he's going to win this race. But I think he's going to get you a top 10 here this week. And I think he's a very safe driver, low-end driver 1, high-end driver 2. And at this point in our tiers, that's what we're looking for here. A little bit of value, and 79.4 top 10% rate over 34 starts here. His worst finish is 24th. Kyle Busch is not going to burn you. He is as safe as it gets here at Richmond, fellas.
Yeah, I feel like you took my next driver right out of my hand. So I was like, oh, yeah, good. The 8 car's still up there. The 8 car's still up there. And he's gone. All right, well, my brother did tell me that all he ever comes here for now is just to hear my Kevin Harvick love. And are you ready? Do you want a top 10 finisher? I mean, honestly, that's really the question of it all, is if you want a top 10 finisher, Kevin Harvick is your guy, and you did slide him in the correct spot there in the B category. Definitely not going to win you this race, although he did last year, right? That was one of the 2 miraculous wins that he ended up pulling out of it. But he does have 4 wins on this track already. Get this, 29 top 10 finishes in 43 starts. That's a 67% average in top 10 finishes on this track, including all 3 of his last races, and then 5 out of the last 6. I don't know. You got to keep going all the way back to 2018 to find a spot in which he didn't finish in the top 10. So,
wow,
it's Kevin Harvick, man. That's what he does. He finishes well on this track, and I think he's going to do it again, making a good DFS day. His salary is, what is he? Oh, he's actually pretty high. He's at 10.
I did the same thing. I was looking at Harvick, looking down. I'm like, where the hell is he? And then he's up number 2 price on DraftKings, just behind Byron.
Yeah.
That's the only pause I have, Rod, is I like Kevin Harvick. But to me, I think he should be closer to where Kyle Busch is ranked coming into this week, to be honest. The 10-8 is scaring me off just a little bit. So I don't think I'll have a lot of Harvick, but that also might be the consensus out there in general this week.
Yeah, probably one of those low-owned guys. So I said I was high on Toyota. I'm going to pivot away from the Toyotas and go Ford here. I think Brad Keselowski could be an interesting guy to look at in Tier B here. 8,300. Chris Buescher also 8,400, but I'll leave him for one of you guys to rank and see where you fit him. Like I said, RFK is better than I thought they would be this year. They're off the road courses now. Obviously they're good at super speedways, but the road courses maybe not a whole lot. We were talking about missing Buescher in the top 10. I think they get back on track at Richmond, though.
Okay. All right. I'm going to throw Martin Truex Jr. up here in this 3 tier. I don't love Truex right now. Like he had insane speed here in the spring, and I thought he almost might win that race in the spring. However, it just didn't come to fruition here. He's rated pretty high coming in at the number of 9,900. I think I'd rather pay down, but he is a B tier driver. I think he'll be low rostered because of that number here, Rod. So I am a little bit intrigued with Martin Truex. I'll probably play him in a couple lineups.
Well, and that's funny. Once again, you took the guy I was going to take right before I took it. I mean, look, he won on this track, right? I mean, he won in 2021. Granted, I know that it's not the next gen car. It was just basically him going out and leading 80 laps and winning this race. But Denny Hamlin had led the most laps in that race, and he kind of just beat his own teammate. So I like Martin Truex Jr. I actually think he's a very sneaky play because a lot of people are saying he's retired. So Cody. So yeah, I'll take him as well. I'm gonna throw Ross Chastain up in the mix as a B tier driver. And really not for anything that he's done on this track. He hasn't been the greatest on this track, but he's still Ross Chastain. He still drives balls out. He still is somebody that, you know, is ready to throw down at a moment's notice. And I like the $8,700 on this. So let's say he does start toward the rear of the field, or he doesn't qualify well. He can pull in some pretty decent track position and points differential for you. He's got 3 top 10 finishes in 6 starts this season. So it's not been a terrible year for him. It's just not what we were expecting out of him after last season.
Yeah, or go ahead, Seth.
I mean, it's been tough, man. It's been tough. Like he started off super hot this year again, too. We were kind of getting those good vibes early, and just so, you know, lately, I mean, he squeezed his way back into a top 5 or a top 10 last week. But yeah, it was some crazy shit that had to happen for it. It's just a gamble when you play Ross in anything. That we know that's how it goes here anymore.
Fair point. All right, so I think this guy's maybe teetering between a B and a C just because there's not the Cup experience there. But I think Josh Berry could be interesting. His price is $7,900. Short tracks are his bread and butter. You know, he's not a guy who ran a whole lot of road courses or super speedways. His bread and butter is short tracks, just like Richmond Raceway. He's obviously in a great car in the 9. He's at a good price here. Again, he's got to be feeling confident. He had a better run in his last race before the road course. Part of me thinks he doesn't love that he got taken out for the road course. Part of me thinks he did love getting taken out for the road course because he knew it probably wasn't going to be that great for him, but he can keep the confidence high. And he definitely intrigues me. Maybe not as a winning driver, but probably let's take a look at his top 10 odds in the props later on, because I think that could be worth grabbing for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to just throw the 2 Penske guys up there too. I think they belong. Rod, hopefully I didn't take any of your guys that you wanted to talk about, but Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, I think belong in this tier. Ryan Blaney, 2 top 10s at Richmond last season. So overall, I mean, Ryan Blaney, he's the guy. Like last week, I had him in a couple lineups, had him on some bets, and he kind of came back and snake bit me a little bit. But right now, you're getting a little bit of a value, 8,800. I like him a little bit better than Ross, honestly, coming into this week. So I'll ride with him at 8,800. Logano, 94, a little bit higher than I'd like. But Penske, we know they're going to be fast here this week, Rod.
Yeah, they are. And I think you're absolutely right in placing them both in the tier B. And no, you did not take the guy I was going to take next. That's okay. I don't know that a lot of people are going to take the guy that I'm taking next. I think he's going to get slept on a little bit, which may give you the opportunity to differentiate yourself in some of these GPPs and slide him into the tier C. And that's Eric Almirola. Eric Almirola has, you know, not been the sexiest of drivers this season. And, you know, again, it's not for lack of being a good driver. It's just, I don't know. He hasn't been able to put it together. He's looked good in some spurts, but when you have finishes of 33rd, 30th, and 30th, and 35th, right, it's not going to get you a lot of play. But on this track, he's not been bad at all. In fact, over the last 6 races, he's got 3 top 10 finishes, an 8th place in 2020, a 6th place in 2021, and then an 8th place in the last spring's race. Last fall's race. So not bad track history over the last few races here for Eric Almirola. Like I said, a top 10 finish inside of the last fall in this next gen car. I think if you're going to pay $7,800 for him, I think that's what it is. 78. Yeah. 76.
76. Yep. Even better deal.
That's even a better deal. Yeah. For a guy that could potentially get you a top 10 finish and start toward the back like he did He started in 32nd in the fall and worked his way up to an 8th place finish. Not bad for the other Stewart-Haas driver.
Yeah, SHR kind of intrigues me, but it's one of those deals where, it's Harvick and then it's everybody else. I still don't have a whole lot of trust in the other 3 guys right now. I'll throw 2 quick bites on the board. We'll put Bowman in tier B.
Yes, sir.
Not even because of being a fan. It's because this guy really is one of the hottest drivers in the garage in terms of running in the top 10. Atlanta, if it weren't for Chastain being a dingus and not going with him, he'd still be on that top 10 streak. He's at 9,200. I don't love that price, but I think he probably continues that top 10 run if they run as they expect to. And I brought up RFK earlier. I think Buescher is fair to throw in the C tier. His price, 8,400, which is actually higher than Keselowski.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go as well, Elliot, with both of those drivers. I think we could make the argument Buescher should be in that B tier, honestly. 3rd here in the fall, 13th in total speed ranking at Phoenix. I like him at a really good value, down to 8,400. Right, a little bit better than Keselowski, but I think he's going to run a little bit better than Keselowski this week. So I'm intrigued. Let's not forget, man, Buescher was dead fast here last year in that fall race. I think he finished 3rd. Is that right?
That's what you said a minute ago, so I think so.
Yeah. So I love Chris Buescher here, and Alex Bowman. I mean, did we ever think we would see a world where Alex Bowman is in the 9Ks of DraftKings? But that's where he belongs here. Wow. I do like Reddick better than him this week. I'll probably play Reddick over him for $200 less. But overall, I love both of these guys. Man, I feel like there's a big tier break now, if I'm going to be honest, guys. Like, those are the cream of the crop here this week. I'm going to go ahead and throw someone up there that he's a little bit of a sleeper, and I think he's the end of tier C, but it is Justin Haley. 2 top 5s here in 3 Xfinity starts, and Richmond is his one better short flat track. Out of all these ones that we're looking at in our comp data this week, this is one that he gets up for in that speed. So I like Justin Haley. He's coming in at a value once again. Every single week, this guy's a value on DraftKings, averaging just over 27 DraftKings points per week, coming in at 5,500. I want to play some of these big dogs this week, and Justin Haley's going to allow me to do that. So I'm rolling with the 31.
Yeah, I can't complain on that one either. Yeah. As far as Busch is concerned, yes, you're right. He did finish 3rd in this race last fall, so not bad for him. I'm looking around and I'm digging. If you're going to go, like, I don't know, you're right. There's a huge drop off, and a lot of me wants to go for Bubba here in tier D. There's a lot that you got to unpack with him. I mean, he just finished outside of the top 10 in the last race here. I think it was the last fall. I'm clicking around so much on between races. I'm trying to figure out which one I'm on. Yeah, he finished 13th in the fall race here last season, but unfortunately his head is not in the game this year. And it's apparent after last week, especially where he just basically said, I'm going to probably get replaced and that's it. And, a lot of this that they do is head games to each other. I mean, that's all you have time to do in that car is think about what's going on and think about how much you suck or how much you're doing good. So I don't know, but go ahead and throw Bubba in there. I do like his price. Tier D. Don't put him in tier C. I think you're right with the drop off. I really do believe that at this point, we're just going to try to find any sort of little justification for anybody that's left on the board. But yeah, if we're really dropping off, this I think is where it really drops off after Bubba.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a couple decent drivers here. Seth, did you have a point before I?
Nope.
Okay, I didn't know if I heard you there. I mean, Bubba, I can make the argument for him being a C minus. 7,500 is an all right price, lower than Almirola, Briscoe, Barry, Suarez. But yeah, I mean, part of me is like, yeah, he's still down in the dumps. He's going to go on a little weak slump here. But Toyotas are good here. Wallace has been all right here in the past. Maybe this is a race where he can pick it up. But yeah, I can go either way on Bubba. I'm okay with him being in tier D, even if I make the argument maybe a C minus. Yeah, it is kind of slim pickings here on the board. I guess maybe Suarez and Briscoe are probably the 2 better drivers left here. Suarez 8,100, which I think is a little high. Probably C minus D territory. And I think the same with, Briscoe, and maybe we can even group Ryan Preece in there. Just like I said with SHR, these 2 younger guys, Briscoe, we still have a lot of inconsistency. Ryan Preece still figuring it out. Sometimes when you're in bad equipment for so long, it takes you a while to adjust to good equipment. I think that's the process we're seeing with Ryan Preece. I don't think SHR is what it used to be. Who knows what the future is there. I think we will see good runs with Preece. I just don't think it comes, right now or maybe even anytime soon. So I think these guys are worthy of tier D.
Yeah, I think all those guys that you just mentioned, Elliot, like they're prime candidates to finish somewhere between 15th and 19th. Like that's the tier we're at right now. I'm going to throw Austin Dillon in here as well. And I think he could honestly be ahead of this group. So I'm going to put him at the beginning of the D tier. Listen, Austin Dillon, man, he's been a value a couple times this year. Last week was one of them for a while. 28 DraftKings points. He's averaging 7,200. Like he's down in that Ty Gibbs dinger range, which I think is a little unjust for a guy who comes into this race having some success here at Richmond. If we're being honest, it's not always great for Austin Dillon, but he's had a couple top 10s here, 5 in the 17 starts. So I think at what you're paying for Austin Dillon, he belongs at the top of this D tier. I will have some lineups with Austin Dillon again this week.
Yeah, Austin Dillon's such a tough you see his name among the better drivers on this track, and you start to think to yourself, okay, it's Austin Dillon, and then you see what he does on Sunday, and you're like, oh, wait, that's Austin Dillon, and it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to want to. So, all right, you know what? Honestly, there's nothing else that I can make. I mean, the only thing I can maybe say is Eric Jones, but only because. But other than that, I don't know. I want to make a case for Dinger, but I can't because you look at his Richmond stats and it's all 20s. It's like a fifth year senior, like 20, 27, 29, 27, 26. It's not anything fun.
Probably E/F tier for Dinger then, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
We'll throw him up there. I mean, of the board left, there are two guys I can maybe make some arguments for. Ty Gibbs, maybe just by osmosis, if Gibbs runs well, maybe he gets in the top 15. He has had top 10s this year. I think maybe he's even worth a D at 7,300. I mean, that's not terrible. And then Corey LaJoie, 5,400. They've run better. I don't have his Richmond stats in front of me.
Terrible, god awful.
Pretty bad.
But they were bad for COTA. They were terrible for COTA coming in.
That's true.
And it was
ended up 11th, I think.
11th, yeah, man. So Corey LaJoie deserves to be on this board somewhere. I don't care where.
I think the D, just because 400, you can plug him in and still get like 2 upper echelon drivers.
You look at all the optimized lineups every single week, and a lot of them are riding Corey LaJoie, and it has not changed. Yeah. So, I think Noah Grayson belongs on this list as well, guys. Finally showed some speed last week. Got messed around a little bit after qualifying pretty good. He was up and he was down. It was kind of a roller coaster of a race, but he's figuring it out, I think, in this car. He's won here in Xfinity as well. So I'm going to go with Noah Grayson. I think he belongs probably in this E tier, but I'm going to put him above Dinger just to spite Rod a little bit here. Elliot, any notion here on these bottom guys as we kind of round this thing out? Cindric's still on here as well, that we should probably place him somewhere.
Yeah, Cindric is the only guy I think left that can be placed on the board. And the books aren't high on him either. 6,800 DraftKings price. I think just for the 6,800 Penske car, maybe he's worth a D-.
Yeah, he has best place here is 12th that he's finished before. So he's kind of running probably somewhere in that mid to early 20s as well. So 100% with you guys there. I think that's going to do it about for the tire tiers though, guys, because I don't think we have. But
we'll give my patented, quick sentence on each of these guys just because I'd like to say, in theory, we're the only pod that'll talk about every driver. Chandler Smith in the 13 this week. I just don't think Colleague runs well enough. JJ Yaley in the 15, worthless. Sadly, Harrison Burton has been pretty worthless also. 5,300, that's the 6th lowest price. This is too good of a car to run this bad. And I think eventually you got to start thinking about Harrison Burton. McDowell and Todd Gilliland, front row. Sometimes there's weeks you want to talk about front row. Other weeks you don't. This is one of the weeks you don't. Same with Stenhouse. And then you got 3, starting parks back here. Cody Ware, maybe good for a 25th once in a while. Ty Dillon, big thumbs down in there. And I think McLeod's back in 78. I don't even remember anything.
All I will say is Cody Ware is averaging more DraftKings points per race than Harrison Burton. That's how grim it has been for this kid.
That's just sad. Burton looked good in Xfinity. I don't think he's a bad driver. He may just be one of those guys that is obviously still learning. Maybe he's not cut out for Cup. He's primarily there just for the extra funding that they get from like Dex Imaging and stuff like that.
Wait, so
Elliot, Ware outrunning Burton is rough.
Alfredo's in the 78. Does that change your mind at all?
No. No, I did forget. I do like Alfredo getting a shot. I just don't think Live Fast is quite there yet. I like what they're doing over there. I think, contrast to what I thought Aspire before this season, they're really trying over there, and they just don't have the resources. We'll look at them again come Talladega. We'll see who they have in the car, whether it's McLeod or whatever. But yeah, this week most of these bottom filler guys just don't interest me. But hey, it's worth a sentence on them. One of the only shows, if not the only show, you'll get where we'll have a whole conversation about the Live Fast Motorsports car. So that's what you watch the Backroad for. We get you the deep value along with the guys up top.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to give you a little more value on the betting side as well as we head into parking garage props. And again, one more time, if you're new to the channel, please hang around, subscribe, give us a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content, and let's hit some bets, boys, once again.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we've got some decent props out there, but we were talking a little bit before the show. We've been so hyped on the books the last couple of weeks. This week, it's just not quite as exciting. Yeah, Seth?
I think that's what you get with Richmond. It's kind of a boring race. It's kind of
a race
boring...
as well as the books is not as exciting as you want it to be.
Yeah, and you have to kind of agree in some aspect. They can't give us super juicy odds for a race that we expect a lot of heavy favorites to be contending here at the end. I think this is a yearly thing we see with Richmond. It's one where, hey, we made out very well at COTA. We are up a lot of units after that one. So I think we're going to enjoy it, but I don't think we get crazy this week, Rod.
Yeah, no. And again, we were talking offline. It's just the heavy favorites in this one. It's you're not getting, we were spoiled in the beginning with super speedway odds. We were spoiled with road course odds. We were just spoiled all the way around. And even Atlanta at super speedway odds. And now we got to come back down to earth. And now we got to really just figure out what our favorite bets are and how we're going to make money.
Yeah. So let's get into it here, Rod. Are you on any qualifying or outrights right now? And if so, who should we be maybe dipping our toes in? Because these odds aren't great, and chances are they're going to get worse after qualifying here if someone goes out there and lays down a heater of a lap.
Yeah, I'm not really on the qualifying. I mean, I don't know. The only reason I'm not on qualifying is now it just seems like it's not as locked of a case as it used to be, right? I mean, the old style of qualifying, you pretty much knew the fast cars and you knew what it was going to happen. But now the tiered qualifying kind of mixes things up a little bit. It's not necessarily as predictable as before. But on an outright, I brought him up earlier in the tire tier. I told you he's my first driver and that I'm going to be riding him till the end, and that's Denny Hamlin. I love, actually, so we talked about how much the books sucked, but I actually love Denny Hamlin at plus 900. I love him at 9-1 to win this race. I cannot believe that he's 9-1. I cannot believe that Harvick, Larson, Truex even, Byron, and Bell are all above Hamlin on Barstool right now. It's just insane to me. 9-1 on Denny Hamlin is fantastic value. I talked about him being the leading laps leader. 2,135 laps that he's led around this, including 197 3 races ago, 207 4 races ago. And obviously he won this race and he only led 5 that time. So it doesn't matter how many laps he leads. If he wins the race, he still can only lead it or do it leading 5. But really,
you can do it leading 1.
That's true. That's true. 30. That's the only one. If it's the checkered flag, you did it. 32 total starts on this track, though, in his career. 21 top 10s, 17 top 5s. It's just insanity. 4 wins on this track. It's Denny.
Denny takes pride in this too. He used to run his short track showdown here. He's the only full-time driver from Virginia. He takes pride in running well at his home track, and not going to surprise me here. You said Barstool. He's a plus 900. They had to have an odds boost on him on Caesars to get him to plus 900. So that's a good deal at Barstool. I feel like at plus 900 for sure.
He's 750 on DraftKings, and it's just what?
Yeah, DraftKings odds, and that kind of parlays a little bit more into my favorite outright of the week, and it is William Byron plus 700 on Barstool. I don't know what DraftKings is doing this week. I'm not betting a thing there. I haven't been lately. And right now, William Byron on DraftKings plus 450, plus 550 on Caesars. So you're getting a discount, I believe, at plus 700 over on our friends Barstools with Penn Gaming. And I've had a love-hate relationship with William Byron this entire year. I bet him he does shitty, and I fade him and he wins the race. And, I think coming into this one, I really like where he was at at Phoenix, number 1 in total speed ranking in that race. He proved to me that he has something on these shorter, flatter tracks, and led 122 laps, finished 3rd last season in that first race. Second race, again, I mentioned it earlier, but 11th, top 7 in speed ranking, though, in the end of it. So I think William Byron's going to be fast, guys. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to bet on him on qualifying because I don't have the stomach for it this week, but I don't mind that as well. I think William Byron, to me, he's the favorite for me, 100% locked in at plus 700. I think that number is going to be down below 5 everywhere come Sunday.
Yeah, that's a pretty good number there. A couple long shots I'm looking at here in Caesars, a big group of them here. Reddick, Blaney, Logano, all plus 1,500. Chastain plus 1,700. Bowman plus 2,000. Maybe even a Josh Berry plus 3,000. Any of these long shots, maybe sniff half a unit on one of these.
So I will defend Reddick because I have already sprinkled him at that price tag that you just mentioned, Elliot. It was just a sprinkle. It was a quarter of a unit. I don't think he wins 2 in a row. But at that number, I like him. I also like him at top Toyota for plus 550. I think that could be
pretty good.
It's between him and Denny and C Bell for me in that one. But at plus 550, it's a really nice number. And 3 straight top 5s for this guy. And I think this is a little bit of a misprice when you consider top 5 speed and a top 5 finish at Phoenix, top 10 speed at Richmond 1 and Richmond 2. It was a disaster for him. I'm not sure quite what led to such a bad race for him, but now he gets that preferred Toyota car. He was already good at this track in a Chevy last season. So I really like him there. I'm taking him. One of my best bets that I'll probably feature in my Betting Pros article tomorrow is minus 112 on Barstool for a top 10. That's one of the best top 10 deals in a very inflated market that I've seen so far, Rod.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the thing about it with Reddick. At 15-1, I do like this early price because if he does come out and if he does qualify, that's definitely going to shorten up quite a bit. We saw it last week, and Reddick is a very fast car. And this price is not really indicative of the way he's been running lately. So this is one where the books have kind of slipped up a little bit and maybe just looked at his past performances here and said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and put him at 15-1 with that group of folks. So this is one where I think if you believe in Reddick, you believe in back-to-back victories. Somebody had said, William Byron, I talked about momentum. William Byron won 2 in a row. Reddick can very easily win 2 in a row. So I like it at 15-1.
All right. Rod, anything else in outrights or in our placement props, top 3s, top 5s, top 10s that we haven't mentioned that we should maybe be taking a look at?
Yeah, well, the outright market, again, we talked about it. I don't like it past maybe Denny Hamlin and then maybe that sprinkle on that. But I will say, if you want to get creative, and Caesars is letting you do this and kind of parlay the winner of the Australian F1 race, right?
Yes.
And somebody else to win. Now, they're promoting the Australian winner, Max Verstappen, which, I mean, that's good.
I don't know Formula One very much, but yeah, that sounds like that's a lock,
Yeah, that's basically a lock, and it's minus 250 for him by himself to win this race. So you don't want any part of
that. Is insane.
It's F1 odds, but
that's as lock as a lock can get. I think the way F1 is now.
Yeah, exactly. So Verstappen, but you parlay him. They got William Byron in there. You get plus 810 if you parlay Verstappen and William Byron if you like that.
I think the way it sounds, I think Seth, you might have to jump on that one.
Yeah, I think I probably will be on that, Rod. I think you shouted out that last night on the NASCAR betting preview show as well. So and I think Barstool is actually offering the same bet right now. However, I think it's only about a plus 450, plus 550, which I wasn't as intrigued at that price tag. So, but yeah, I like that there, Rod. Anything else here in the placement prop market that we were maybe not talking about yet?
No, basically just if you can lock in Tyler Reddick at a top 5, I think you need to find good odds, shop around for those, because I think Tyler Reddick as a top 5 is going to be a lock, total lock.
Plus 265 right now over on Barstool. That's the best I can find it right now.
Yep, that's perfect.
Yeah, plus 220 on Caesar, so Barstool looks better.
And Rod, I don't mean to dive deep into your picks this week, but I know you had mentioned one last night, and I didn't have a chance to even write it down because we were moving so fast. But was there one that was a Tyler Reddick top 10 and parlayed with someone else in the top 10 as well?
It was Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick, both to finish top 5 at plus 550. So that is one that I like.
Both to finish top 5.
Yes, both
Cool.
all.
I don't know that I'd love that. If that was top 10, I think
Yes.
great.
Okay. Yeah,
Top
that's
5,
what I
I
was.
think that's a little, not
That's
quite.
what I wasn't sure, because I'd be all over that at top tens, but top 5. I mean, I think you're getting a little ballsy, but I think at the end of the day, I like both those drivers this week, so I'm intrigued by that. I'll probably have a little bit of a sprinkle there, and this is my hashtag not gonna make you rich bet of the week, but I'm gonna go Kyle Busch minus 157 at Barstool for a top 10. I've hammered the juice already. It's just one of those things. Like, some things in life just go together, guys. PB and J's, Busch Lights out on the boat in the summer. There's some things that just go together. Kyle Busch and this track here down in Richmond, Virginia is one of them. I already mentioned 79.4 top 10 rate in 34 starts. Worst finish, 24th. Finished 9th here in both races, and that includes when he was kind of just dragging his feet towards the end of the season in August there when we came back to Richmond. Top 10 speed and a top 10 finish at Phoenix already this year too. Our closest comp track. 4 out of 6 races in the top 10. This guy just finds a way to get it done. So I'm going to continue to back Kyle Busch here. It's not going to get you, it's not going to be what Reddick was when we hit that outright last week, but it's going to be a little money in the pocket. Rod, any thoughts on that? And I can't get ballsy enough on him to go at plus 185 for a top 5, but are you intrigued at that at all either?
I don't know. Because then, I mean, that's a lot of cars in the top 5. We've already kind of called out all the cars.
That's how I feel too. That's why I like the top 10 better for Kyle Busch this week.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with diversifying your portfolio. If you think he's going to get a top 10, it's a 50-50 shot at that point if he ends up 1 through 5, right?
Yeah, all it takes is a big wreck in the front, right?
Oh, I'm good on that. I've been snake bit by that a couple times. Elliot, Rod, anything else here in the placement prop market before we move on to matchups and head-to-heads?
Some plus money top 10s to throw out. I was mentioning about Barry earlier, plus 140. I don't love that.
You love Barry this week. What is it, Elliot?
I brought up earlier, I was curious what his top 10 odds were. So plus 140, if it was, plus 200, I'd love it a little more. But plus 140 is man. Briscoe, Almirola, both plus 180. We're kind of back and forth on them. Ty Gibbs plus 250 may be interesting as well. These are some plus money long shots, but maybe
if I'm taking a long shot here in this range or lower, Austin Dillon, plus 260. That's a decent number for Dillon. Again, he has 5 top 10s here in 17 starts. I don't think he might not have the speed here, but Kyle Busch had some speed at Phoenix. So, I just hyped up Kyle Busch's teammate. So I don't hate that number for Austin Dillon. I'll probably sprinkle that. It's not going to be a full or maybe even a half a unit for me, but I will be on that. Rod, you look like the wheels are running for you. Anything else here in this market?
No, I'm good on that market. Again, we're already filling out the whole top 10.
Yeah.
Kind of
a tough market here this week too, with not the best odds. Elliot, I want to come to you for head-to-heads, group specials, anything like that you're considering that maybe our Backroad family should as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of groups I have pulled up over here. A couple interesting ones, and a couple that the long shots also interest me. You guys are so good on the juice and stuff. I like looking for the long shots, the plus money here. Group A. On Caesars, we got Truex, the favorite, at plus 240, Blaney plus 350, Kyle Busch plus 350, and Chastain, Logano, and Reddick all plus 550. We're kind of inching in on Reddick, maybe at a plus 550. That's intriguing. KFB plus 350. I think Truex being the favorite makes sense. Any of those numbers interest you guys?
I'm more intrigued to play the bottom of that board for sure. I like Reddick at that number. I don't mind Kyle Busch at that number. The issue with me this week, I actually don't like a lot of the head-to-head and matchups that I'm seeing, just because it's all guys that I think are going to be in that top 10. So I'm not finding much of an edge here. Right. Elliot, I want to come back to you though. And any other bets here in this area we should be looking at maybe?
I saw one more group. I had the same sort of thought. Normally I'm all over the place with the fun head-to-heads and stuff, but there just wasn't much that was great here. Group E, we talked about this a little before the show. I'm tempted to go Christopher Bell at plus 310 at the bottom of a 4-driver group, but the drivers ahead of him are William Byron plus 200, Kyle Larson plus 245, Kevin Harvick plus 245. So I can see why you're getting the good money on Bell, because it's really hard to pick him against those other 3 guys.
Yeah, 100% here. I'll go with a little bit of a value one, kind of a fun one, actually. And I got to give credit to our guy, Skybox NASCAR, Mark Harris, on the NASCAR betting preview show last night. He threw this one out there. This is Group D on Caesar Sportsbook. It's Corey LaJoie. We're going back to him, guys.
God.
Minus 120 on Caesars. This is the group you're betting him against. Todd Gilliland, Ty Dillon, Anthony Alfredo making his way back, Cody Ware, and JJ Yaley. So we can get rid of Yaley, we can get rid of Ware, we can get rid of Alfredo, and we can get rid of Ty Dillon. It's basically LaJoie versus Gilliland here again. Hey, Gilliland did beat him last week. I will say that, but LaJoie isn't a road course guy. We know Gilliland has a little bit of speed on road courses. Average finish this year for Corey LaJoie, 15.2. Todd Gilliland, on the other hand, 22. So there's a 7-place difference there. I'm willing to sweat that out for minus 120. No top 20s here amongst this group of Gilliland and LaJoie. However, neither were also particularly fast at Phoenix. LaJoie finished 26. Todd Gilliland finished 32nd. I think that's probably where they finish. I think Todd's probably somewhere in that 30 range, and I think Corey's somewhere between 22 and 26. So I'm going to take that minus 120. Give me a little LaJoie here, Rod.
Yeah, you cannot. Well, Cody loves him some Corey LaJoie. I mean, that's a given. I'm contractually obligated because of Cody to like Corey LaJoie. It's hard to say Corey and Cody at the same time. It's a little exercise, but yeah, no, I share your love, especially in that group. I mean, that's like picking, I don't know, Shaq over a bunch of 8th grade basketball players. It's like you almost can't not pick
that Capital One commercial where it's Barkley against 2 kids.
That's the one, yes.
Yeah, I knew I still had it. It's like, yeah, of course, Chuck. But
I love it.
I got a couple manufacturer bets here. Top Ford, Chevy, Toyota. Looking at the top Fords right now, Harvick's your favorite at plus 120. We were talking a little bit about RFK earlier. We think they're going to run better. Keselowski's at plus 600, Buescher at plus 850.
I would be intrigued. I would be a little intrigued with those numbers. Those aren't bad.
Yeah, and a little less interested in the SHR guys, but there is some money to be had here. Plus 1,400 for Almirola, plus 1,600 for Briscoe, plus 2,500 for Preece. If the other SHR cars find their way, that could be intriguing also. I think Almirola is probably my favorite here, which explains why he's the favorite in terms of those 3 in this bet.
It's so hard because you have to go like who's beating Kevin Harvick on like that. That's what you're betting. You're betting someone to beat Kevin Harvick here at Richmond, which is hard to do. Rod, anything else here in this market? Elliot's bringing up head-to-heads, groups, anything we haven't covered for you. I think Elliot might have a couple more after you as well.
Yeah, so he brought up Barry here, and I'm actually going to go on the other side of that. I'm going to take Daniel Suarez over Josh Berry.
Ooh,
This one's at minus.
Where's that at?
Well, I'd have to find the book. I can't remember.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm pretty sure it was on Caesars when I looked, but yeah, I like Daniel Suarez over Josh Berry. Look, and it's not because I don't think Josh. Yeah, it was on Caesars. It's not that I don't think that Josh Berry can't get things done. He did finish 10th in Phoenix, which obviously we talk about these short flats, but it wasn't as if he was running in the top 10 all day. That was just sort of a luck of the end of the race type of a thing for Barry because he wasn't around the front. And all of a sudden he ended up there through, cautions and through pit strategies and all kinds of crazy stuff that put him at the top 10. So it's not as if he was running in the top 10 all day. He's pulling double duty again this weekend, obviously, with Xfinity. And, look, Daniel Suarez has not had the best season either. This isn't like a big knock on what or a big endorsement of what Daniel Suarez has done this season, but he did have 3 top 10 finishes to start the year, but in the 20s now till the last 3 races, 22nd, 29th, 27th. He's not in the greatest of moods right now, right? And he's out.
Oh, yeah.
$50,000 poor, and that 27th was not reflective of how he ran at COTA. That's just
he was right up in front there, and yeah, he definitely wore his heart on his sleeve, and he's now $50,000 the lighter. So you bet he's going to try to go and run like a guy on fire. These Trackhouse cars are fast. So I think all things considered, I'm going to take the Cup Series regular over Josh Berry in this instance.
That's fair. They're both at plus 1,200 in the top Chevy market. So if you like one over the other, that could be worth it too.
Yeah. Elliot, anything else in that manufacturer market that you're seeing? I said earlier I like Reddick a little bit, maybe for the top Toyota as well. I think he could maybe get that done plus 550 as well.
Yeah, I see it at plus 450 here, plus 550, obviously a better number for that. Obviously not a lot of Toyotas, so not a lot of juice there. Where's my top Chevys? Here it is. You got Suarez and Berry plus 1,200, like I said. Bowman plus 750 if he happens to be the Hendrick car that's good on the day. Could be interesting. And hey, if we're on the Austin Dillon train, plus 2,000 for the best Chevy.
Can't do it. Can't do
it.
it.
That's a little much, but I had to throw that out there.
Hey man, I totally get it here. Guys, that's about it though. I think we kind of ran through everything pretty quickly tonight. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. If you guys are new, easiest way to support us is subscribe to the channel. Come back, hang out with us each and every Thursday night here. We just hit last week on Tyler Reddick. Rod went 3 for 3 on his outrights last week with all 3 series. So we want to help you guys win some money this week. We want to help you win some money this year and just have a good time doing it too. That's what we're about here at IBT. Rod, tell us where we can find you and how we can best support you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Load up the Sports Gambling Podcast's own NASCAR Gambling Podcast on anywhere you get your own podcasts. And of course, now we're live on YouTube as well.
Yes.
So check us out on YouTube once you're done here. Just search over for NASCAR Gambling Podcast, see my smiling face and Cody's smiling face. And like, subscribe there too. Love it. Thanks, Nick, once again for joining us. Love to see you, Nick. There. But yeah, man, just follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez.
Awesome. Elliot, where can we find you, man? What are you up to as we approach the nicer weather out here in Pennsylvania, my friend?
Yeah, that's going to be real nice for sure. We don't always have it as lucky as you out there in Cali, Rod. But yeah, at ehicks39. Follow if you feel like it. Definitely be sure to give In Between Media a follow, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we really are a well-oiled machine with this trio now, 2 years into it. So always a fun show with this, I would say original trio here. But yeah, always a good time. Richmond's going to be fun, hopefully just as fun as COTA was. And hopefully we're back here this time next Thursday, just as excited heading into Bristol Dirt on Easter Sunday. But we'll get to that next time. Thanks for rolling down the back road with us. Best of luck at Richmond. And have a good rest of your night, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.